welcome to Paleo with Becky, and today I'm going to be making waffles. So I have one I already put together here. I topped it with some strawberries since it's strawberry season in North Carolina, and added some homemade whipped cream. The whipped cream is really easy to make. It's literally just cream, or you can even use coconut cream, some homemade vanilla, and then a little bit of sweetener. I was using Natural Mate, which has stevia and erythritol. So today I'm going to show you how to make these waffles. Here, I will put this over here for now. They're really easy. This is a very simple recipe. I really like to do it in, it's not a weekday recipe, but it's definitely a quick Saturday morning recipe. And it's also really good, really simple ingredients. So if you like this recipe, if you want to see more paleo breakfast recipes, send me some feedback in the comments, like the video, share it with your friends if they're interested in clean eating, especially for a breakfast treat. All right, so here we go. I've got my waffle iron on over here. It's heating up. Mine has 6 settings, and I've got it right on 4, so it's pretty high, medium high maybe. So to start out, I'm going to do a cup and a quarter of almond flour. So this is my almond flour here. And I'm probably going to make a mess doing this. But... Okay, so that is a little bit more than 1 cup. It doesn't have to be quite precise. And use a spoon to maybe be a little bit less messy this time. And we're going to do about a 1/4 cup here. There we go. And part of cooking is always cleaning. I wish that weren't the case, but it's a little bit much. Take just another little bit out. There we go. All right. Like I said, it doesn't have to be precise, but since my cup was a little over, I figured my 1/4 cup should be a little under. All right. So now the baking soda. So I get baking soda from Costco in bulk and then put it in my little glass jars. So we're going to do, this is a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. I don't like to use baking powder. Sometimes it has corn in it, so I really just do my own. And the corn is really for a starch, which you can use tapioca starch or anything like that. I generally do that like 1-to-1 for a recipe that calls for baking powder, but this one just calls for baking soda, so a little easier. And then a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I'm using pink Himalayan. And then 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So this is my homemade vanilla extract in a fancy bottle that someone got me for Christmas. I don't do much liquor, so the decanter got vanilla extract in it. See if I can pour this. There we go. There. It's really easy to make vanilla extract too, so that's something I recommend doing. It's so much better, just taste-wise. All right, and then we've got a tablespoon of maple syrup. Oh, waffle iron's ready. Guess if I was like elsewhere in the house or something, they would alert me. I was hoping that would be easy to pour. This is a giant thing of maple syrup that Adam gets from Oswego every time we go up to visit his family. And I think it lasts us maybe like, it must last us like a year or 2. We just keep it in the fridge. It takes up a ton of room in the fridge, but whatever. There we go. All right, and then 2 eggs added to that. Oops. All right, let's see if I can get that up. Totally gonna use my hands here, and Lily can clean up anything I spill. There we go. Let me wash my hands. Okay. All right, and now we got 2 tablespoons of oil. I just use I say oil because you can use coconut oil if you don't want to use any dairy. I'm using butter. This is Kerrygold, which is grass-fed. I've been sitting it out for a little bit so it is nice and soft. And you can see I'm not being extremely accurate here. These always turn out pretty good. So, all right, and then we have a 1/2 cup of coconut milk. I'm using coconut milk. You can use regular milk. Doesn't really matter. If you want like more dense waffles, you can also use just a 1/4 cup of cream. I like the light and fluffy ones, so I tend to use one of the 2 types of milks. All right. Yep, that's a little more than a 1/2 cup. It's all right. All right. And then last ingredient on the list is almond butter. This is, again, just from Costco. I think Sam's Club actually sells organic almond butter, which I prefer to buy, but I was at Costco, so here we go. Oops, only one. Let me get that off my finger too before I get it on everything. All right, now we've got one of my favorite tools, my immersion blender. Makes life a lot easier, and I'm just gonna blend this all together. So you can see my batter is very liquidy, it's very pourable. That's totally fine. All of that liquid will evaporate and give you nice fluffy waffles. Okay, so this is a Belgian waffle maker. Depending on what your waffle iron looks like, you're gonna have to spread a different amount on there. Also, if you do not have a waffle iron, you can use little pancake molds in a cast iron skillet. I've done that, it works really well. For this, I'm gonna pour about half the pan's worth on there, if that makes sense. You'll see what I mean. Okay, so that's about half. So, and then I'm just gonna let that spread out maybe a little bit more. It's always like an art to not overflowing this thing. I've probably done too much. There you go. So this is gonna make about 2 Belgian waffles, and these are really filling. Like, I can eat maybe 2/4 of it. I can't eat a whole waffle. Most people will have like 1, and I'll normally top it with a couple eggs. So it's really filling in the morning. It's also a really great breakfast. You can even freeze these. So sometimes I'll make like a 4 times batch. I don't know what you call that, quadruple batch. So I'd make like a quadruple batch and then either keep some in the fridge or freeze them. This one was in the fridge. If they're frozen, they bounce back just as nice. So they look real pretty. They're all nice and fluffy. Really great to keep on hand for mornings. They reheat just by throwing them in the oven on broil. Just watch that one. I've burned a lot of them. So these are really great to keep around. This is one of my, like, if I have time on Saturday or Sunday and I can make a whole bunch of stuff ahead of time, I'll either do these or I'll do my quiche, which you can find on my website. That one's a great make ahead as well, because that one can even freeze, or you can make mini quiches and freeze those in their little silicone muffin cups and then just reheat those in the microwave. So there's a lot of options when you're transitioning into a paleo breakfast. A lot of people do struggle with that because most people think of, breakfast and either cereal or low-fat yogurt. And I do like yogurt. I eat the full-fat yogurt, oftentimes the Greek yogurt. And recently the Harris Teeter near me has started carrying some really nice, like, grass-fed yogurt. So I'll have that, but I find I don't stay full quite as long. If I have this breakfast, or if I have one of Adam's shakes, which are ridiculously filling, then I don't even really want lunch. I just go straight from morning up until right about when I get home. So that's definitely something to consider. I found that when I eat lower carb, I tend not to get hungry in the middle of the day. So that works for me. I've seen a whole lot of different theories on low carb, keto out there, so find what works for you. And we're gonna let this guy go, and I promise you it'll come out beautiful. But this is what it should look like. They're a little difficult to get out sometimes because it's hot, obviously. But thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next week. And you can follow me on my website, rxprimal.com. That's RX, oh, I've got it written down, hold on. That's rxprimal.com. You can find all my recipes there, a lot of videos, also just my thoughts on eating paleo affordably and easily, because that's really what I'm about, is making sure that not only do you know what the paleo diet is, but that it's easy for you to do. A lot of people jump straight into it and they find they're a little overwhelmed suddenly having to cook all of their meals with a much more restricted ingredient list than they're used to. So, that's really what my website is for helping you get into it, stick with it, as well as there's some tips for getting around those blockers. So check me out, follow me on Facebook, like the video, and I will see you next week.